ICIP virtual training series for 2024. Today, we have a presentation from USDA. Our Elizabeth Ibada is the Community Programs Loan Specialist with the New Mexico Rural Development USDA Department of Agriculture. So if you could go to the next slide, Ms. Gio. And you saw that kind of pass by a little bit, but we do ask that everyone do keep their cameras and their microphones turned off until, unless you have a question, you can definitely use the chat. And then we will address them as our presenter would like. If she wants to do it at the end or during, that's up to them on how they want to answer the questions. And again, just important to keep all that off so we can have a good bandwidth during our presentations. Next slide. And Elizabeth will give you more information on the presentation itself. And, again, going over questions, we'll, if any of our COGs are here, we'll give them the opportunity to add anything else that they'd like. And also let you know that they are here to help you. And then we have some training opportunities that are coming up for for the whole month of June, actually. And so, sorry, we didn't update this properly, but also to let you know that as of we do have a training scheduled for tomorrow, but we are going to be changing that. And that is actually now going to be on the 7th. And that was understanding your grant agreement. We're going to be adding a little bit more to that. So we need a little bit more time to get that presentation together. Apologies for that. But we are going to be sending you a separate invitation for that. And again, that's for, going over the grant agreement and what it means, all of your responsibilities, our responsibilities, all of that good stuff. If you're lucky to be awarded any funding this year and in the past as well. And then from there, we'll talk a little bit about the upcoming Infrastructure Finance Conference. Okay. With that, Elizabeth, I'm going to go ahead and stop sharing and we'll turn it over to you.
Sure. Just want to say hello. Thank you so much. Sorry if I gave you a heart attack by not signing in sooner. And then I do have slides prepared. And thank you so much for inviting us to present today. So I guess I can go ahead and get started. I'm going to go ahead and share. And let me know. I'm pretty sure you're able to see this. I'm going to go ahead and turn my camera off. And here we go. Alrighty, so yes, so like Carmen said, this is a presentation on the programs that USDA Rural Development, the community programs offers to applicants in the state of New Mexico and to rural communities in the state of New Mexico. So our agenda today really is for me to go through, introduce our team because our team is fairly new, the majority of us. Not all of us are here on this presentation, but I'm just going to do some introductions so you know who is in your area. Then we'll go over some community facilities program, our community facilities program, and some eligibility requirements for that and the opportunities that we have for funding. The same with our water and environmental program. Then we'll take some time at that point for some questions. And then if time allows, I'd like to go over some updates on our getting e-authentication. This is some changes that took place last September. And what we've encountered since then is a little bit of difficulty in getting through that e-authentication process. So if we have time, I'd like to touch on that, but I really do want to focus on, what funding opportunities we have to offer, and then allow some time for questions. So I will go ahead and move into who is USDA Rural Development. So I'm just going to kind of stay on that real quick. So rural development offers many programs. Over here on the right-hand side, these are, some of the more general programs under the USDA Rural Development umbrella. Within each one of these, there are loan and grant opportunities for various projects. I like to tell people that rural development can essentially build a community from the ground up with loans and grants to support business owners, infrastructure, um, construction of businesses, construction of community centers, anything that it might take to gain a good economy in a rural community and provide for the residents and the users of the systems there. So I specifically work in the community programs program under USDA Rural Development. Our state director is Patricia Dominguez. And our program director, her name is Christine Griego, and you all may have seen her name. She was a loan specialist here in the community programs program, as well as she has worked in our housing program as well. And so then I just move on down here with our community facilities and our water and environmental program. Those are the two programs that we really focus on. And the six of us down here are currently the ones who are working in the program. So there's Janice Martinez, and she is our community facilities coordinator currently. However, Janice is actually retiring at the end of June. So we will be working to fill her position. But because she is so versed in community facilities, all of us are actually going to be focusing on both of the programs. And so we will be hiring for her position. And then, of course, there's myself. I work out of the state office. Janice does as well. I work out of the state office here in Albuquerque. And then we have Brianna Quirino. She started with the USDA. She actually has experience with NRCS, which is a different USDA program. But she's the loan specialist as well out of the Albuquerque office. We have Lenora Cedillo, and I believe Lenora is on the call today. And if you're available, Lenora, just to say hi, you're welcome to.
Good morning, everyone. I'm kind of losing my voice right now, but I'm located in Las Cruces off of Stern Drive, if you know where that is. I'm looking forward to working with some of you in the future, and if you need anything, please don't hesitate to reach out. I'm always available to respond to emails or answer the phone.
And thank you, Lenora. And she is actually our newest member of our team. And I believe she's been here a little over 2 months, if I'm not mistaken. Could be a little under 2 months.
A little under 2 months.
A little under 2 months. There we go. And then we've got Laura Lujan. Actually, it's Laura Hurtado. I haven't changed her name on this slide. My apologies. She is actually out of our Las Vegas office. And then Patricia Roybal. If you all have anything currently with us, you've probably received emails from, she goes by Patty. She actually is like our right-hand person who is actually going to be retiring as well at the end of the year, but she has been with the program for a very long time and knows the ins and outs of our systems. And so we rely very heavily on her. So we have quite a bit of new staff, and Laura came from our housing program. And so she's familiar with rural development and just kind of getting her feet wet with our programs. So that's our team. We do hope this year that we will be adding a few more specialists given the additional programs that they're going to be offering, and I'll talk a little bit more about that later. The other thing is we are actually on the look for an engineer for our program. We had an opening for that position. Our engineer actually moved to NRCS, and we are hiring for that currently. And this engineer actually helps with our water and environmental program specifically, and then also helps in some other capacities for the state programs. All righty, so I'm going to go ahead and move on. So we'll go ahead and get into our first program is community facilities. And so community facilities are funds that are available through loans and are eligible for grant. And it just depends on the project. So, here's a listing, hospital, health clinics, colleges, schools, daycares. It can help with equipment. The one thing that we want to make sure that we state is that these programs they're essentially to benefit the community at large. So, the schools, it would be public schools or public charter schools. And then the equipment part of this is for the facilities that help the community. Your water systems, your electrical utilities, even your grounds maintenance. We've done lots of different equipment through this program. What we do like to do is when we are doing a construction project for community facilities, that we tend to keep the loan attached to the construction project because of the life of that asset would be much longer than, say, a mower or a piece of heavy equipment, or even office equipment or furniture. The one thing that we do not do through our community facilities is recreational facilities. So the parks, pools, things like that. Now, that's not to say that if you have a community center that has a pool that's dedicated for, disabilities or special needs lessons or training or therapy, that we won't consider something like that. But if it's just a community pool, unfortunately, recreation facilities are not part of that program. Our borrowers in the community facilities program, I say borrowers, our applicants, because it is loan and grant, are nonprofits, municipalities, governments, and tribal nations. And so we look to communities with a population of no more than 20,000. Ooh, and shame on me, I haven't changed this either. And have a median household income that is below $52,849. So I tell people 53,000. If your median household income is below 53,000, then what that does is that opens up the door for the community being eligible for a portion of grant. Now, there's lots of different other components that go into determining how much grant a community would be eligible for, an applicant would be eligible for. But if your population is less than 20,000, then you are eligible to apply for the loan and or grant in this program. We kind of talked about what the funds can be used for, but yes, purchase, construct, or improve essential community facilities and purchase equipment. There's some examples of projects. We're going to actually go into a few examples. And these are the slides that I used at the infrastructure conference last year. And it talks about how we are able to utilize multiple funding, either agencies or funders, to complete a full project. With the community facilities program, we do a pre-application, and so we determine eligibility first. We make sure that the entity is eligible, the project is eligible, and that the applicant essentially is eligible, the area. We look at demographic information. And then, that the community that's being served is a rural area. We determine that by using the 2020 census data. Alrighty, I'm going to move on to the next slide because this is, for me, the exciting piece. So I get to talk about the different projects that we've done recently. And so one of the community facilities projects that we've done that has had multiple funders attached to it is Rocky Mountain Youth Corps. They are, their missions, Rocky Mountain Youth Corps is a stepping stone to new opportunities. We inspire young adults to make a positive difference in themselves and their communities through training and service. Core members discover their potential for healthy, productive lives. So this is a nonprofit that focuses on youth and young adults to help train them and provide them employment, provide them training. And so they approached us because they wanted to construct a workforce training facility. Their total project cost was $2,540,183. So the applicant at the time did have 315,000, and when we say applicant, meaning the applicant either already had funding or they had already prepared for this project and they were saving, but they were going to be contributing $315,000. $315,000. There's an extra $3 there. And then the USDA, we came in and we offered the loan of $812,200 for the construction piece of the project. And then they had an EDA grant. They were able to get an EDA grant for $1.3 million. And then we are contributing as well $112,980 for the furnishings, the equipment, the things that go into the building. If they have tables or if there's going to be a kitchen, we are going to help them with that type of equipment. So this is just an example of how multiple, how an entire project will be able to be funded, and we are able to leverage other funding so that we can complete the project. I know sometimes, we reach out and we're hopeful that we are able to, reach out to one funding agency and be able to get all the funds that we need to complete the project. And it doesn't always turn out that way. USDA is here to help you complete those projects. And as we get into our water and environmental program, I'll stress that a little bit more. But use us essentially as your gap funder. The one thing that I will say that I feel is most important is if you are aware and you know that you've got this project and you are probably not going to get all of the funding needed, and you may reach out to us, get us involved in the application process very early. Because no matter what, we will require that our pre-development piece or our the reporting and the environmental process that has to take place for any of our projects, those requirements will be, we'll review all of those items, and they will have to adhere to our guidelines. So if you start the project knowing, hey, we may need to reach out with USDA, we can provide you all of the guides that you need, and guidance that you might need in order to prepare to apply with the USDA. There's lots of templates, there's bulletins, and we can help you with that. You can reach out to any one of us, but we also now have a general mailbox, and then we'll provide you that information on the next slide here. I believe, oh no, I'm going to go into another project. So this is an example of like an equipment project. So we were able to purchase 4 fully equipped police patrol vehicles for Hatch. And so we were actually able to go down there as a group and see the vehicles. It was so exciting to be able to assist them with, essentially replacing most of their fleet. I like to talk about police vehicles and other emergency vehicles. And the reason for that is because normally within a community, there's already part of the budget that's going towards maintenance or going towards purchasing a vehicle. And what we were able to do with Hatch, as well as other communities, is we were able to kind of like leverage that amount that they were getting for their budget for new vehicles. We were able to utilize that amount for a loan payment. And of course, this loan, I want to say this one is for 7 years. It's 5 to 7 years. but they were able to leverage that loan payment, that amount that was in their budget for their loan payment, and they were able to replace 4 of the vehicles, as opposed to just doing one and then still having to maintenance a vehicle. Or they were able to retire some of the vehicles that just really weren't um, doing well for them. They were putting more into them than they were getting out of them. So this one, again, it was a USDA loan of $112,500, a USDA grant of $87,500, and then another persistent poverty grant of $50,000. So we were able to fully fund this project, and they were able to utilize the amount from their budget that they received annually for the maintenance of their vehicles. They were able to utilize some of that to go towards their loan payment. And so that's kind of what I wanted to say about this project. It's the same thing, with any other heavy equipment or vehicles that you might need for your program. Sorry. And then here are some examples of some of the equipment that we can assist in purchasing. We have used our community facilities program to purchase Vector trucks, backhoes, trailers, lawnmowers, and I did put a picture of a transformer up there because we have had a community that was working on an application to purchase a transformer, but the state actually was able to give them a grant to do it instead of having a loan component. So, but I wanted to put that up there. These are just some examples of some of the equipment that we can utilize this community facilities funds to purchase. Alrighty. Oops. Sorry, I'm just going to use my arrows now, maybe. Okay, so I'd like to move on to our water and environmental programs. And this one is a little bit more familiar for me. This is the one that I've been working in for the last about 3.5 years. And but I am starting to move into that community facilities program as well. But our water and environmental program is there to help with your infrastructure, with your water, wastewater, sewer systems. Um, we have lots and lots of different opportunities for funding. Again, this is a loan and grant program, and there are eligibility requirements for that. We have pre-development grants that are available. So if you're needing assistance with, getting a PER prepared, if you're needing to do an environmental report or even an assessment and you're needing to pay for those services, our pre-development planning grant could assist you with that. And again, all of these that we're discussing we can utilize multiple funding agencies to fully fund that work that needs to be paid for. We're here to help with failing infrastructure or expansion to new users. If you're needing a new source or you're needing a backup source, if there's been, okay, this one I just want to, our program is really not an emergency reactive program. However, we are able to help with emergency disaster assistance. So we do have some disaster funding from the 2022 wildfires. We still have some of that available for infrastructure that was damaged. But as far as our emergency community water assistance program, we call it the ECWAG. It really is, it still does take some time to get through that process. But if you've lost your source, or it is no longer suitable and you're on a boil order, or there is an emergency that you're having to bring water in, we do have a program that can help with minimal. I would say that one will fund up to $1 million towards assisting in getting that service back to your users, whether it be finding a new source, drilling a new well, or better treatment that now take care of the situation and not have to be under a boil order. We have, I want to just highlight real quick, we have two circuit rider programs, RCAC, which is Rural Community Assistance Corporation, and then New Mexico Rural Water Association. These are circuit rider programs from USDA, so we fund them, but they are just phenomenal technical assistance providers. RCAC does a lot with assisting you in the pre-development piece of it, as well as the if you need help with your financial documents, or you need help with doing an income survey or a rate analysis, they help a lot with those administrative tasks. Our Rural Water Association, these are all of our operators that are out there just in the communities, assisting with, if you're needing help troubleshooting something physically with the system, or you're needing needing interim help with your testing, or making sure your reporting is getting taken care of, or you've lost your operator, Rural Water can assist with that. There are so many things that that both of those technical assistance providers can assist with, but we have also been working with Southwest Environmental Finance Center, and there's just so much assistance that not just these three, but there's so many technical assistance providers that are out there that can help answer questions, and you can always reach out to us to help with an introduction. So I'm going to go ahead and move on. And RCAC and New Mexico Rural Water are very familiar with our programs. So if you are wanting to, or you've decided that you are wanting to utilize USDA for your project, they can assist you along the way with the application process. Alrighty. And so I've kind of gone over a little bit of this information for our water and environmental programs, but the eligible areas are a little bit different than the community facilities program. We do serve rural communities and with populations of no more than 10,000. And then the median household income, I did update this slide, is that $52,849. And so long as the median household income based on the 2020 census information falls below that 52,849, then that will determine how much grant you would be eligible for. And then there's just a list of some of the things that you can utilize our programs for underwater and environmental. And then we also do solid waste collection, disposal and closure. We can assist with, if you've got transfer stations or things like that, that you're needing assistance with, we can entertain those projects as well. Stormwater collection, transmission, and disposal. Funding can also be used for legal engineering fees. So when you're looking at a project as a whole, when you're looking at adding infrastructure, we've got all kinds of things that we have to work with as far as easements, getting easements and getting the right of way so that we can put, pipes in the ground. There's legal fees that come along with that, and there's lots of engineering and planning that goes along. All of those costs can be paid for with our funds, but it is something that is estimated at the beginning of the project. We ask that all of that is accounted for in the total application costs. And then down here, just some additional requirements. All facilities must be used for public purposes. So when we say public purposes, meaning it has to be a water system or a sewer system that is non-discriminatory in their practices of allowing people to connect. And this is something that we will require of the applicant. If there's a loan on the project, we will continue to monitor that, making sure that all civil rights are being adhered to. We do inspections periodically. Let's see what else. Partnership with other funding agencies is always encouraged. We know these projects, and we understand that $1 million really doesn't go as far as it used to go anymore. So these are really high dollar projects, and so it does most of the time take multiple funders to complete an infrastructure project, and we're here to offer assistance with that. Let's see here. We do have some programs if you're a colonias, if you're a tribal nation, where you could be eligible for up to 75% grant funding. With our tribal nations, there are some programs that have eligibility up to 100% grant. All of these ones that have the large grant portion are to assist with health and sanitary conditions that may exist with the system. So, if we've got sewage leaking, near a water source, or that can contaminate the ground or contaminate the water source, that is an extreme health and sanitary condition. So I am going to move on to the next slide, just talk about one of my more recent obligations. So I worked with the City of Jal. It did take us about 2.5 years to get through the process of the application and getting to obligation, because the City of Jal is now recognized as a colonia. And so we were able to utilize some of that colonia funding because of the situation there with the treatment of their sewer. So they are going to be constructing a new wastewater treatment facility. The total project cost at the time was $25,038,000. During our application process, the City of Jal reached out to the state of New Mexico, and they were able to receive, I believe there's capital outlay of 1.3 million or 1,305,000, and then they were able to get a loan / grant with New Mexico Finance Authority of 10,120,000, and I do believe that that was Colonia's funding as well. And then we were able to come in and complete the total amount that they were needing with a grant of 9.2 million, and a loan of 3.3 million. They are actually going to be contributing $1,012,000, and this actually is their match portion for the loan with the state, the loan and grant with the state. So by having all the multiple funding, they were able to essentially get the entire project funded, and we will hopefully be moving into construction in the next year. There's just been a lot going on while we've been going through our letters of conditions and preparing for the project. I put down here under suggestions, seek all the one-time funding and let us be your gap funder. So I'm not sure if you all are aware, but there is a lot of funds. There are a lot of funds with the state of New Mexico right now, with the bipartisan infrastructure law funding and all of that. And what I like to tell folks is, seek that funding first, because it's going to be there for a little while. We aren't going to be guaranteed that that funding is going to be there. We are part of the Farm Bill, and so our funding, it usually is reoccurring every year. We have had some changes take place in the last year or so, but all of that bipartisan infrastructure funding that's out there, you want to make sure that you're seeking that right now, with everything, and most of it was given to the states, and a lot of it is going through EPA, as well as EPA does fund some of the state of New Mexico programs as well. But again, if you are short with the funding, you can always reach out to us and let us be your gap funder. Let us finish your project. And again, always work with USDA. At the beginning, if you've got a large project and you think that you're not going to have all of the funds, make sure that you're working with us if you're going to want to take advantage of our programs. If there is a health and sanitary condition attached to your project, make sure that you have as much documentation for that as possible, because that could increase potentially the amount of grant that you would receive on an application in our water and environmental programs. And like I said at the beginning, this project did take nearly 3 years to get obligated, and the city was just amazing in the process. And We really worked with them in getting their health and sanitary documentation, and they actually had to go back and get recognized as a colonia. So there were lots of things that took place, but they hung in there, and they're able to now get the entire project completed. Alrighty, I'm going to talk about one more project for our water environmental program. This is what we consider our legacy project. So there's a community, La Union, Mutual Domestic Sewer and Water Association. And essentially, we have been able to build in their water system. And one of the projects, most recent one, I believe, that they had with us was for $8,472,000. They had an applicant contribution of $55,200, a loan from the USDA of $3,077,000, capital outlay of $200,000, and then a USDA grant of $5,136,800. So this all was used to replace a main trunk line, install a new tank, meters, and service lines. So this was a pretty extensive project. And this one was fairly old. That's why there was a lot involved in this project, and the ticket was $8 million. These kinds of projects are a little bit more than that nowadays, but they were able to do quite a bit with the funding that they received. And they've come back to us multiple times. So that's why we consider this a legacy project. We've been able to assist them essentially from the ground up, and they've come back to us multiple times to either repair, add on, or make the system more sustainable. And we are always available for questions. Ask us whatever. If you think, hey, do you guys do this, or do you know where we can find funding for this kind of project? We can hopefully direct you in the right way. If our USDA rural development programs don't offer it, we might be able to direct you to someone with the state. But I'm sure that there's lots of people on this call that are excellent with directing to where you all need to go for funding. I am going to move on. I believe our next slide is for questions. Do we have any questions in regards to our programs and projects? Anything anyone would like to add?
I do not see anything in the chat, but if anyone would like to ask a question, you're welcome to turn on your microphone.
Elizabeth, this is Lisa Campbell with Stantec.
Hi.
Hi, how are you?
Good.
Who would be the contact for a hospital for Quake County that I would need to contact?
Sure. I'm going to go back just a slide. Go ahead.
Actually, for a community facility project.
A community facility. So any of us can assist. What I would say, and thank you for asking that question, because I think I just kind of grazed over this on two slides. So at the very bottom of this slide, where it says application, we now have a general email box, and it's cpassist@usda.gov. And what this does, and it is because we have several fairly new specialists, this is actually being monitored by our program director. And Lisa, to answer your question, all of us eventually will be able to assist with both community facilities and water and environmental. Currently, what's happening is Christine will get all of the inquiries. Either she will respond or she will ask someone else to respond. But what's happening right now is that she's normally responding with the beginning information. So that we established this box because several of us are fairly new, and we are no longer splitting the programs and having direct contacts for one program over the other. So did that answer? So I would send the inquiry to that cpassist@usda.gov. And then either Christine will respond or she'll assign it to one of us to respond.
Okay.
But
I
that's
have
what's
I have all the eligibility documents, which are rather large with the attachments that are in the application.
okay.
Is there a mailbox that we do like for those larger files, or how do I get those uploaded?
Gotcha. So our community facilities program doesn't have an online application process. So we do have a Christine knows this. We have the cloud space, and we're able to give you access to upload, and then we can download. And that is that Christine has those instructions and those capabilities. But I would say if it's an inquiry, we want to kind of get started with what the project is, who we're going to be working with, things like that first. And then what will probably happen is Christine will assign it to a specialist. And at that point, we will probably request direct communication with, hey, can you provide me your financial feasibility report, your PAR, things like that. You'll probably work with a specialist for those items. Did that answer your question, Lisa?
Yes, it did. Thank you.
Okay. And there was one thing that I failed to discuss, and I want to touch on it. There is a lot of opportunity now. How our program has changed with our funding is there is a lot of funding and availability now through the congressional's offices, so our congressional representatives' offices. And so if you have not made connection with your congressperson, I would highly recommend that you do. Because what they're allowed to do now is receive applications for what we call congressional direct spending. At least that's how it comes through through USDA. I believe that EPA is also getting some projects through this process as well. But if you have a project that you would really like funding for, the Congress people have the opportunity to be able to essentially earmark that funding. But there are some requirements that have to be done. There's things that have to be done in order to apply for that funding, and the congressperson's office has those instructions. But I highly recommend that you get in touch with your congressperson for your area, for your district. So what's happening is we are getting lots of projects through that process. And so our water and environmental program, as well as our community facilities program, both are receiving those projects directly through Congress. So I want to touch on that, and the reason why is because our funding has kind of been realigned to account for the funds that are being put towards those projects. So we have a bit less availability of grant funds with our regular programs, as well as loan. We have a bit less loan funds to work with as well. But it is a really great opportunity to essentially get some grant funding towards your project. But there is a process that you have to go through with the USDA to fulfill the obligation for those funds. Alrighty. Are there other questions in regards to our programs, community facilities, or water and environmental? Alrighty.
Nothing in the chat.
Okay.
But everyone is asking if we could please get a copy of the slides so we can
Sure.
send everyone. If you don't mind getting that, I think you said there was a couple of corrections you wanted to do. So if you don't mind doing that and then sending that to Gio, and we'll get it out to everyone.
Sure.
Okay.
Awesome. And now this next portion, I'm gonna try and go through so that we can have some time to have questions at the end. So if you all are familiar with our program, like I said, community facilities, we still do paper, essentially paper applications. And when I say paper, it means that we don't have a portal that you go to upload, to answer questions. It's not a digital application. It still is, we need your SF424, we'll need the signed certifications, things like that. But for our water and environmental program, we do have an online portal that you apply for all of that loan and grant, those loan and grant programs. It is called RD Apply. In order to utilize that program, you have to have a level 2 e-authentication. And so it's essentially a way to authenticate you and make sure that it is you who we're working with, and that you are the only one that's going to have access to this government portal. It is highly secure. It is the same way that employees get authenticated with different levels. So the reason why I want to talk about this is because we have encountered some issues because there were changes that took place last September. And it could have been that I just missed an email, but when we started to do some applications and I was helping, I noticed that our system had changed. So I kind of went through all of these. So an e-auth, we call it an e-auth. It's a security system that already apply and many USDA public applications utilize. So once you get your e-authentication, you will probably be able to access multiple agencies' applications, but you do have to be authenticated. So I'm going to go ahead and skip to the next slide. So in order to obtain a level 2 e-authentication and get your e-auth ID, this is the website that we send our applicants to, because RD Apply is the only portal that we use in our program. And when you work through this RD Apply link, it will send you through, it'll send you through the login.gov and then through the e-authentication process. And so I'm going to go a little fast through this. And I just want to let you know, this was actually me creating my own e-authentication on my phone. And so these were screenshots that I took from my phone so that I could prepare the slides. So this is what it'll look like when you go to, it won't exactly look like this on your phone, but you're going to want to click on the create an account. And that is if you have not already gotten authenticated, if you already don't have, or excuse me, if you don't already have your level 2 authentication. And you'll click on what type of user are you? You're a customer. And then you'll hit continue. It'll ask you for your email address. You'll put that in, you'll submit it. Then they will send an email to you. And then this is very similar to what other sites and other portals use to identify you. And you're going through and gaining all of those security requirements and the different, with your thumbprint or your face verification, things like that. So you'll then access your email. Okay, so you'll go to your email and then you'll continue your registration there. Okay, so you'll get through this registration process, which I believe I have all of these slides as well. Once you get through that registration process, they'll send you another email that's confirms, and it'll tell you that you've been registered. But as you go through here, there's lots of steps. So you will enter your personal information. So the one thing I want to just let you know about your e-authentication, it is a personal authentication. So while you may be working on behalf of an applicant or on behalf of your company, this authentication goes with you. So that's why it's asking you for your personal information. And it will ask for some very deep personal information. It will ask for social. It will ask for things like that. but you'll enter that initial information, you'll create your password, and definitely keep this password somewhere safe, because you're going to have to use it to access some other screens as you move throughout this process. Oops. Okay. Okay, so at this point in the registration process, this is for a level 1 authorization that's already been completed. But in order to access the portals and make changes to applications, you will have to do a level 2. So at this point, just you want to make sure that you're reading the screens, and then you'll want to go to click this log into your application, and then it'll ask you to complete the next steps. Oops. It'll take you to usually login.gov, and you'll enter your user ID and password. Okay, you'll want, because you will already have created those. You'll utilize those. You'll log in that way. Then it'll take you through the identity verification. You'll want to enter your date of birth. Click continue. There's 2 ways that they're going to ask how you would like. Let me just make sure I didn't skip a slide. Yeah. It's going to ask you if you want to do an online validation or if you want to visit a local registration authority, which would be a local USDA office. There is also an option to visit a post office. I honestly don't have any idea what goes on at the post office, but if you could attempt to do the online validation, you can get everything completed online. And that is the recommended way to do it. If you're unsuccessful, you can always utilize the other options. So with the online, you answer some questions. It may ask you some questions about your credit history, but it's not pulling your credit. It's just general questions. However, the one way that they are doing things now is that they are asking you to verify by taking a picture of your driver's license. Okay, so that is the online identity verification that they're using currently when you go through this method. So you'll just want to read the agreement. You can click on the terms of service and you want to agree to that. Alrighty. I really feel like, let's see here. Yeah, so it's going to ask you to verify your identity. You're going to enter all of your information, and then it is going to ask you some questions. And you'll want to just answer these to the best of your ability. And at the end, once they have finished verifying you, then they will provide you with either they've been able to verify you or they haven't been. And if they haven't been, at that point is when you'll need to go in and visit either the one of the USDA offices, or you're able to verify yourself via the post office. Again, I don't know what happens at the post office or what access they have, but they're able to identify you. And then once that is completed, you will then log back into that RD Apply website. Sorry, I'm scrolling, making you dizzy here. You'll log back into the website for RD Apply, and it will then allow you to attach your e-authentication to your RD Apply. And at that point is when you're able to go in and create an application for the Water and Environmental Program. So I know that was a lot of information really fast. What I will tell you is if you are interested in a Water and Environmental Program application, we will address this individually as well. I tend to have virtual meetings where I watch to make sure that all the steps are everything's getting completed correctly, and we're able to troubleshoot online what could be the problem with getting access and getting your authentication. But again, that is, we will work through that through an application process. there's a lot more that is offered through our technical assistance providers as far as the things needed for an application and things like that. But of course, if you have questions, you can always reach out to us. Again, the mailbox that we put on there, the CP Assist at USDA.gov, that is going to be the best place to start. You are welcome to give us a call. If it is a new application, we will probably refer it back to our program director because she assigns those as we receive them. So I know we don't have a whole lot of time, but do you have any other questions for me? Anything I can assist with?
No, no questions in the chat again. Just everyone is just asking for a copy of the slides, which of course
Sure.
we'll get to them. So, again, just offering if anyone does have any questions, you're welcome to turn on your mic.
No?
No, doesn't look like.
Awesome. And so if something comes up later on, because I know we really are only, because of our staffing, we really only have time to sit with the presentation, feel free to email any questions, Carmen, or if anyone, you can email the CP Assist box. You can email myself. We're here to help. Alrighty.
Great. Well, thank you so much. And
Okay.
we really appreciate you joining us today and always such great information from USDA. Thank you. We appreciate you all.
Yes.
So we're going to go ahead and take over the slide deck, if you don't mind,
Sure.
on our side. And just going over just a couple of things, just reminders for everyone. Gio, if we can get that up. Okay, again, just a reminder for the ICIP, our submission deadlines again have moved up this year. So we have received already the senior facilities, their ICIP. So the next ones up on deck are coming up really soon, our special districts, which are due on June 14th. Tribal governments, counties, and municipalities on July 12th. And our plan is to get the final publication done and complete and online by September 13th. Right at the bottom, you'll see there's a link to our website on the ICIP. Again, all of our information there on submission, and we also have a training that we did specifically on the database that we have available there on the video and the PDF. Again, we will do that with all of our presenters that we've had so far. So just know that all of the trainings are there available for you online. Go ahead and move forward. And again, so as you'll see on the training for tomorrow, the understanding your grant agreement is going to be rescheduled, and actually we do have a date for it. It'll be next Friday, the 7th. Okay, so again, apologies for that, but we did have to make a change just because of some additional stuff that we're going to be adding for that. Again, our trainings we're going to be doing a little bit differently now. We're going to actually be using them sending them out as an event, so you can actually register for that and you'll get the link directly. It's actually working a lot better for us. So instead of having to fill out that Google form, it'll be just a quick little registration form that you'll need to do. So just know that for the next trainings and from here on out, we're going to be using the new Microsoft event. Okay. Next. And what's coming up now is the councils of governments. We just again want to thank them for always being, assisting us in every way and assisting you in everything that they do for their communities. And I just wanted to open up the floor now for anyone from the councils of governments if you want to add anything. Or anybody. So just know that, again, you'll see if you can go back to the map. Sorry, Geo. If you see on the map, if you're not sure of where your council of government is or who they are, it's really important to get to know them because they really can help you in lots and lots of ways, not only in assisting you with your ICIP, but applying for funds, all types of things. So just know that, it's really important to get to know your regional COG. Okay. Okay. Now you can move forward. Sorry. Okay, and the next one is just an opportunity for us to thank our management team with the local government division. And also we do have a change on this as well. So we'll be changing this for the next one, but we have an acting division director now, Jeanette Gallegos. And so she is no longer our deputy. Now she's our acting division director. Actually, she's both right now. So Wesley Billingsley is actually officially moving over to the new infrastructure division. And that's not what the name of it is going to be, just to let you know. So we'll get you more information on that soon. But again, always take this opportunity to thank our entire management team here at LGD. Okay, you can go ahead and move forward. Okay, and then next, again, an opportunity as well to thank all of our Community Development Bureau team. This team works extremely hard. We manage now close to 3,000 projects. So, it's just amazing what this team does for you and for the state of New Mexico. Just so, again, an opportunity to thank them, as well as what you've all been receiving. If you do have a project that is managed by the local government division or DFA and have an expired project coming up now on June 30th, we have sent out a memo. We didn't actually do a year-end memo this year. We just did an expiring projects memo. So if you did not get that and you do have a project that you know is expiring now in June, please reach out to your project manager or reach out to me and we'll get you that memo. And then, but I know that all of us have been actually reaching out to all of you already. So just know that that is coming up. Next slide, please. I believe this one is for the Infrastructure Finance Conference. It's coming soon. Trying to change the slide, sorry. You can see Gio's little arrow there. There we go. So the 27th annual Infrastructure Finance Conference, we ask for you to please save the date. It's going to be on October 28th at the Isleta Resort and Casino. And we are truly planning to make this event the best ever. So just know that that's coming up. Registration will open on July 1st. And so that will be coming up soon. Okay, so again, just save the date, and because it's going to be an extremely important event, so you can actually have the opportunity to meet all of the states and federal funders that for your projects in New Mexico. So just know that that's a great opportunity to do that, as well as network and just learn more about what everything we offer and what everything the state offers for funding. And I think that's it. Just want to say thank you again to USDA and for presenting for us today. We truly appreciate your time, everyone. And just know if someone did not get to watch this or attend today, we will have all of our, and we do have all of our trainings on our website. And again, videos and the actual PDFs. So thank you again so much. Have a great rest of your day, and we will see you soon. Thank you, everybody.